And so we would be in Mexico, and we would be outside, and you would hear an owl, and my grandma would be like, "Oh yeah," my grandma would be like, "Oh yeah, look, that's an owl, that's a witch right there." And I'm like, "No way!"
Freak you out?
She freaked me out, and she'd be like, "Yeah."
My grandma did something kind of similar. She said owls were past loved ones. If they come and they yell at you, it's just their way of saying something. So my grandma always had owls in her whole house. She had this one creepy one that used to fly across. So I was telling my mom, I was like, I want a tattoo when I get older of an owl. And so you saying that kind of like, it's kind of
symbolizes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's pretty good.
My grandma used to say that. I was like, what the fuck? And like I said, my grandma did a little bit of brujeria and shit. Like,
yeah.
So I don't know.
It made it a little bit more believable. You
know?
know?
Oh shit, that's fucking weird. It used to always creep me out.
How about babies? Do you believe in like when? Because you know when babies like they stare off in a corner.
Oh yeah.
That's like the other thing I forgot to mention too, like with the cats and like animals.
Oh yeah, I believe that shit. Yeah. My grandma used to do this one thing where they say in Mexican folklore or whatever that when babies, when they're young and they cry, that means están asustados. That means that it means that someone's trying to do bad onto them. You know, like someone's trying to do like I don't know, wish bad onto them.
Some kind of malevolent force.
Yeah, some shit like that. You know. So my grandma did a thing where like she did a limpieza. She get an egg and she rub an egg on them and she'd do like a prayer and all this other weird shit, you know. And then she'd like put an egg, and then she'd crack it open, and then it'd be good. And then she'd crack it open into like a wine type of glass, and then put it under where the baby sleeps, usually like a nursery or something, you know. And then the next day it'd be all black and shit like that. That means that the baby was like fucking cured and shit like that. It means something. It means something that yes, the baby was, you know, like looked down upon and shit like that. Someone was trying to do harm.
Yeah.
And it happened to and it did. And my grandma did it to my cousin one time, and I seen the yolk was all black and shit. I was like, what the heck?
That's wild.
Gnarly, dude. And you never really believe it until you see it. You're like, oh, shit.
You gotta understand though, a lot of like our ancestors and yours, you know, they have a lot of teachings for a reason.
Yeah.
For a reason. And they're trying to pass it on to us, you know.
Yeah.
Sometimes we don't want to understand it. Or we understand it and be like,
that's foolish.
That you're old.
Yeah,
You're speaking some gibberish because you're old.
Yeah.
But in all reality, like for real.
Yeah.
But you know.
Yeah, no.
You gotta listen to your tias and grandmas and great grandmas and tios.
Your elders. That's why they say it for.
I know that's one thing that I to this day I'm very sad that I never really sat down with my grandma and asked her about like her old time, like her the times that she like practiced that stuff, you know. Because there's another. I have so many of these stories, dude. Sorry if you guys like want to like say other stuff. That's up to you guys, you know.
Oh, you're good.
But one time, my mom. Because there's all kinds, you know. I was talking about the egg thing, the limpieza. There's different forms of that. It's not just as a kid, you know, or a baby, you know. My mom got one as an adult, and she was told that again, someone's trying to do harm to you, or whatever. That someone put salt on you, and someone, you know how someone's salty.
Yeah.
Basically, someone's salty on you. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so then they cleared you. They cleared her. Excuse me, I'm gassy. And so they cleared her of it, and they told her that the salt is gonna leave your body. So we were leaving that little the brujo, the witch, lived like in like far from where from town, you know, in the outskirts of town. So as we were leaving, I was right here. My mom was in the middle. My cousin was to the right. And then my cousin was driving, and then my aunt was, you know, passenger. It was a little car. And as I was chilling, my mom was in the middle. I had my hand over her, you know, and I'm chilling, and a whole bunch of fucking salt out of nowhere just appears. And I'm like, what the fuck? And I'm like fucking getting it off of me. I'm like, what the fuck, dude? And then more appears. Salt. And I'm like, what the hell is salt? Like, what? Why? Like, what is going on? My mom starts like, she's like, oh my god. She's like, oh, it's salt. What the heck? And like,
y'all are just tripping out.
And the windows are up, dude. The windows are up. I mean, my cousin, the one that's driving, his window is just a little cracked. You know, he's getting air. We're getting air. You know, but not enough to where like someone, you know. And then we're not driving by a house. We're not driving by no like valley or nothing. We're not you know, like there's no way someone could have, you know,
done something like that.
Yeah, and so we're like, what the heck is going on? And my mom's like, oh, so the guy just said that someone is you know, salty on me, whatever like that.
Yeah. And
that he said that the salt was gonna leave my body, and I don't know how, but the salt just left my body. I don't know. And I started freaking out, like, I was like, what do you mean the salt was gonna leave your body? How? Like, did it just come out of your hair? I started leaving your hair. Like, what do you mean? Like, I don't understand. Like, what do you mean?
How is
like,
this possible?
How is it possible? Like, yeah, like, what do you mean? And I was like, I just started freaking out. Like, what do you mean? And to this day, like, I talk about it to my mom. Yeah, I still don't understand. I talk to my mom about it, and she still don't understand. Like, I don't know. Like, it still freaks her out. I was like, what the fuck, dude? Like,
I think I told you about the time where I used to take art classes, and I was at my art teacher's house, and I was watching her paint, and I had went to the bathroom, and I came back, and I was standing in the doorway, and it freaked me out. It really did. But I was standing in the doorway watching her paint, and something big pushed me, and I fell into like her art stand.
Oh, yeah.
And she like turned around and she's like, what happened? And I told her what happened, and she stood up and she feels energy and everything like that. And she's like touching around the door frame, and she's like, there's this big mean man in the doorway and he wants to harm us. And I like started crying and started getting like chills and everything, and I was probably like 15, 16 at the time. Mm-hmm. And she ended up saging the house, and her husband ended up blessing it. And after that, she didn't feel the energy, but I was so scared to just walk through that doorway because
yeah, it sounds terrifying.
I was pushed, and like, and when her husband, because he came home like 2 minutes later, I like was like rubbing my back, and he's like, what's going on? And he looked, and there was a handprint. And I said, that's not even right there. I was like, that's not even where they pushed me. And I was like, they pushed me on my like lower back. And he's like, but there's a handprint. I'm like, really?
Fuck.
And yeah, you've seen a full, and it wasn't even the size of mine. It was like twice the size. Like, you would think yours are big. Like, no. And it was like covered on the whole back. And I was freaking out. And I called my mom, and I was like hyperventilating, and she's like, just calm down, you know. And she's just started like praying over me, saying, you know, in the name of Jesus, I rebuke you, no harm might come to my daughter. And I was like, all right, just like bless me,
dude. I believe
you know?
I believe in shit like that. No, I really do. And like that might, maybe not in like exactly like and like the Bible and shit like that, or like in Jesus' name, maybe not. But like I do believe, like I believe like in energy. Like I believe if you believe hard enough that like energy and like you'll manifest. Like I believe just enough in harm. Like I believe if you believe enough in harm and in negative energy, then you'll bring it up. Like just how you're talking about like if you believe enough of like a bad ghost or a bad something, like something will or
Yeah.
I think
Like the worse
I
the
believe.
spirit is, like it'll feed off of more negative energy.
Yeah,
than
I think that's
anything.
the whole thing behind like Ouija, basically, like a Ouija board.
Mhm.
I think that's the whole like premise, because that's a game. Ouija board is basically a game. You could buy back in the day. You could buy it at
Toys R Us and shit.
Toys
From
R Us,
Hasbro or
yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah, Toys R Us. You could have bought it at Toys R. I think it was like a 12 age 12 and up. Yeah, I think it was a 12 and up.
Imagine that fucking rating how old you get to be to summon demons and
real,
shit.
like-
Summon demons, yeah.
like
Yeah, I'm old enough to
Oh,
oh
summon.
yeah,
Sometimes
let's
I'll
read the
never touch a
instructions on
Ouija
how to
board.
summon
Nah.
Sulu and shit.
Yeah, exactly. So, but I really do believe in like like energy and shit like that. I really do believe in like all that crazy.
Oh, it's
fucking
crazy.
fucking-
I read this book by the lead singer of Slipknot and Stone Sour, Corey Taylor.
Uh-huh.
He explained it in a wild way, like when you watch Ghost Adventures on how like batteries run out and whatever. He explained it in like thermodynamics. He's like energy cannot be created nor destroyed, so that's why like if you're in like a place that's like heavily haunted, that's why like your battery will go out, your flashlight will start the whatever.
Phone will die.
Yeah, your phone will die. You'll get like hot and cold spots, is because like they're using energy off of like stuff that they can feed off of, and that's
Yeah.
what they use the energy, and then the energy just depletes and goes somewhere else, and they just that's like it explains how technology shuts off and all that other stuff. But the way he explains it is really in depth.
Oh, okay. And this book you said?
Mm-hmm. It's his second book. His second book's a little bit more about spirits and religion and stuff like that.
I'm about to look into that. I've always been into spirits and shit. I've always believed in spirits, because that's some. I mean, that's like the whole second part of like life and shit. Is, I mean, that's like that's where we might. I mean, I'm pretty sure that's where we end up as spirits. I mean, do we walk this earth? Do we? Burn in hell? Do we fucking walk
Start
with
over?
God? Do we start over? Yeah, dude. Do we fucking become a bug? That's what a lot of people think is, depending on how
live your
good
life.
live your life, how you treat people, how you treat yourself, is you become a bug. Yeah, I was actually thinking about that the other day, because I killed a bug. I was like, I probably just killed a fucking pedophile, and now they're starting all over again, and they're gonna become a fucking eagle. Because you gotta think about how fucking, how hard is it to kill an eagle, or how hard is it to kill a fucking rhino, or, you know what I mean, or what is it? You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
who
whatever they
fucking,
become.
like who? Yeah,
Like
that's fucking crazy, dude.
that's why like in India, that's why they have like the
Don't kill a cow.
yeah, you can't kill
you
cows,
kill
and they just
cows.
walk freely in like the
Yeah.
streets,
Yeah.
because it could be like their
Could
ancestors.
kill,
you know?
yeah. This could be me and fucking, whoa.
Yeah, exactly.
Like everybody thinks differently. Like I have my beliefs and you have yours, and everybody has different beliefs. And
Yeah.
it's crazy how many beliefs how many people are different
Yeah.
with how they believe
Oh,
is
yeah.
the afterworld.
And plus,
Yeah.
but yet all their beliefs, how different and like how they vary in contrast and shit, but how they are so similar.
Oh,
in
yeah.
one
And
way,
yeah.
in
Oh,
one way,
no,
they're
yeah.
always some similar.
I do. You don't understand how many times I've gotten super high and playing one and one together. Like I've put in Satanism and Christianity together so many times. Like I've put in Christianity and fucking and Buddhism together because you got Jesus, and then you got fucking Buddha, this guy. Because a long ass fucking time ago when I was younger, I remember because I was forced to go to church a lot.
Yeah.
I was forced to go to church, and I fucking hated to go to church and shit. So I was like, okay, I'm forced to fucking go to church, and let me fucking actually see what I can fucking learn and shit. So see if I actually like what I'm learning. So I was fucking looking into church, and I was reading, because there's so many years that aren't written down about Jesus. So I was like, let's see what the fuck that's about. Why isn't there any fucking so many years not written down about Jesus? What's that? So I was reading that those years are actually that he spent supposedly that he went and took a camel